Across the Galaxy is upon us with its new mechanics and bold new direction.
For better or worse, the majority of the set has been spoiled, so theory crafting can properly begin.
We take a look at this set holistically and tell you what we're most looking forward to. This is episode 109, Crossing the Galaxy.
You have been well trained.
No. You don't have to carry a sword to be powerful.
I won't fail you.
Oh, do not.
I'm not afraid.
Please don't try.
We're back for another week of Destiny action. The hype around Star Wars Destiny is ramping up as we get close to the release of this last and final set in the Legacies block.
Which I feel like still hasn't been officially said. But
what do you mean? Like, officially
did FFG, maybe I missed it, was it in an article that said November, blah, 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 that it's going to be available in stores?
I think the very most recent one that happened yesterday.
Okay, I didn't read that one yet.
I think that's the first time they officially said, yes, this Thursday on Thursday.
By the way, in like 2 days...
Right. Well, I mean, that's...
Because I've seen a ton of store stuff pop up, and the earliest one I've seen so far is on the 8th, so it's kind of safe to assume that... Yeah. I don't know that my local store's doing anything. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I haven't scheduled it yet. I haven't seen anything from our local group, but I've seen a lot of other groups.
Yeah, I know...
Drafting and fun stuff.
I know, I think our local store is doing a draft on Thursday night, and then turn around, do constructed on Saturday with Snake drafting the packs out of a box for the winners of the tournament.
Interesting.
So, yeah. So anybody who pulls Darth Vader in the first little bit, not to say Darth Vader's going to win, but, you know, I think
that will certainly be a helpful card to draft.
from an early meta call, I think Darth Vader is an easy favorite to build a powerful deck around.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree.
For sure.
I totally agree.
Yeah. I can't say a whole lot of exciting Star Wars stuff has happened to me recently.
Well, I have an update from... We've been mentioning... I know I've been talking a lot about the Extra Life fundraisers, but I think it's a really cool thing to get behind. And so... The Chance Cube did help sponsor one locally to me that unfortunately I didn't get to actually go up to, but they were able to raise $2,400 for the Extra Life event. So I think that is so cool. So, you know, hats off to all of them up at Ravenstone Games and the Columbus crew, not the soccer teams, the Destiny players. And congrats to Joshua Schutte, who went 4-0 with Talzin Dooku and won the event. And he took home some Chance Cube swag. So that was pretty cool. I hope he enjoys it.
That's cool. I mean,
but yeah, it was cool to be able to sponsor that event. So that was...
I mean, the Extra Life stuff was going all weekend for all sorts of games. It was a big board game weekend for Extra Life, right? Board games, card games, and the like.
Yeah. The Columbus group, for that board game group, they raised the last total I had seen. I thought was 8,400, but they might have gotten to 9,000. I can't remember. So they did a great job. They had like 2 different places that are across the street from each other that they were able to hold their events at. So you could play games over here, then run across the street and go play games over there. And
that's fun.
Most places do it like 24-hour gaming. So that's, who can beat that? Like, how much fun is that? 24-hour gaming? Like,
I can't beat that.
We're doing 12 hours this weekend.
Oh, your Nerdapalooza is this weekend.
Nerdapalooza is this weekend. And my birthday. So we combined, we bumped it up. We bumped it up a week, or back a week, so that we could do something fun like that for my birthday this year.
That's fun.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not... I hope I don't stress myself out about it.
You probably will.
I stress myself out when planning events and stuff like that, but we're trying to keep it pretty...
How many people are coming?
Between 20 and 30 right now, I think.
Whoa. That's
something like that.
You should start selling tickets. Everyone, next year we're advertising tickets to the Nerdapalooza in South Charleston, Ohio.
Which no one can find. It's fun though. Like everybody, like we're not. Last few years we've been bad and tried to take our whole board game collection. It just got to be overwhelming. So everybody brings their favorite games, and we're extending the time this year and playing board game as long as we possibly can stay awake for it.
That's fun. That's very exciting.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw some Destiny in there if I could. Like, I will say, look, the majority of the well, no, there'll be 2 or 3 Destiny players there that I know. I'm trying to think who all I know from my local groups that's coming. But so I don't know if we'd have enough to get anything going or not. Maybe, maybe there'll be some Destiny at the table too. There'll be some other Star Wars games.
Just go out and buy a box of Across Galaxy and do an in-house draft.
That's not. Maybe I'll make them all buy in. It's my birthday.
Buy a
dang
box
it!
for them. They should be buying your fourth of the box. In fact, you shouldn't spend any money on it for many reasons.
Although now I'm looking around, so a lot of games are downstairs. But as I sit here filming the show, I'm like, oh crap, we should take that game. Oh nope, we should take that one too. Oh, that one over there. So we're still gonna be taking a lot of our collection with us. But
board gamers have all the problems in the world.
Storage problems. Destiny does take up a much smaller footprint, although it's growing. But you might need some board games. You might want to hit me up. I might need to clear out some space.
Rotation's coming, so if you're not going to get into Infinite, you just burn it.
Yeah, but selling that stuff right now, if anybody has a good outlet for that, locally it's saturated. Nobody wants to.
Yeah,
the shops are like, we're good.
Until Infinite becomes like a thing. I think it's.
I'm curious if Cascade, if you'll see them, Cascade Games, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
If they'll start offering that in some of the pod stuff that they do at Galactic Qualifiers, I'm curious if
I bet you I bet you they'll add Infinite into their rotation for the World seats.
That could be. I think that would be cool.
I'd say a Trilogy, a Standard, and an Infinite will be the three offerings they'll have. I think that was the design, but we'll see. I mean. It's the new set comes out on Thursday, so with it should be a new rules reference, right? Should be a new holocron, we would think. We don't know if there's going to be a balance of any kind. There's all sorts of theories on that, whether things will get balanced. Snoke has gotten a lot of love this last set. Will he continue to get a lot of love? I don't know. He's certainly the crux of a lot of vehicle decks out there. With his research generation, he's the crux of a lot of villain and for a lot of decks in general, right? It's with Yoda or Snoke. So, Kinjo from the chat is advocating for a Yoda and Snoke balance.
Snoke, it could happen. I mean, I don't think it could happen.
It could. We'll see. But
no Snoke.
No, well, whatever. We'll see. I mean, it's only a couple days away. So I'm sure, hopefully, we'll be talking a lot about the updates to the rules reference next week. Because there are some things that need to be clarified officially. Like, how many upgrades can you have on a support? You would assume it's 3. Just like there are on characters. But no one's officially said that.
That's true. There was a bit of, I'm going to use your word, scuttlebutt about... There for just a brief second, they thought you could play more than one plot based on that article that Jeremy wrote this week.
Oh.
But when you go back and reread it, it just means if playing them, not playing multiple of them. But it was like, whoa, like it.
Did you just write the word Star Trek in our chat?
No, nope, that didn't happen. No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Sorry.
Print collar.
I just got distracted. Anyway, so let's officially jump into the Destiny news for the week, and we'll get more into this briefly.
Let me take that back, huh? You'll find what you need.
So first off, to make up for our lack of attention to the international scene, we certainly want to give a shout out to Christian, who won the Dutch Nationals this last weekend. 45 players came out, which is, I would imagine, is a great turnout for that area of the world. I'm not sure how far-reaching that area is, but 45 for the Dutch Nationals sounds pretty solid. And took the win with Awakenings Rey, Empire at War Ezra, and Elite Yoda. So a mono blue 3-wide 4-die start.
That's cool.
Some action cheating with Rey. Sounds pretty solid.
Yeah.
Because we have
that.
Yeah. So, I think that's what's exciting. And I think if we, we haven't been focused on the meta over here. I think even Your Destiny released a recent article mentioning how stale stalled our meta was here in the United States, whereas European scene they just had a nationals last weekend, and there's plenty of discussion and development over the most recent set and the meta that we kind of left it with Afro battle droids on the top there with a bunch of Snoke decks floating around after U.S. nationals, and everybody kind of moved on to fun things until now. So
yeah, lots of speculation. The poll certainly gets interesting for a very, very, very short amount of time, and then you just see what shakes out. I mean, I think regionals are going to be really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because this is our first. This is our first. Like, oh crap, I can't use that card. Like, and I think from it's a little more complicated on everybody.
For what? I'm sorry.
Whether you're judging an event, like once we rotate, like if you're judging an event, you got to pay a little more attention.
Well, we don't. I mean,
to see if
we don't know when the next base set will be released, so we may scoot through regional without a rotation, but it's gonna be pushing it. I mean, I would imagine maybe February, and then maybe the last couple regionals will rotate.
When was last year's base set?
Legacies was January.
That's what I thought, but then we had product not in November, right? Wasn't it?
Well, there was.
My brain can't remember. That's true. And so I feel like you can't take a. I feel like you can't go. Last year we did a hint because that's a bad gauge.
But nice try.
Yeah, maybe one of these days we'll be able to say, oh, and in this month we.
That's cute. That's cute.
One could dream.
Well, one can. Yes. So, but anyway, so I mean, it's good to see those international nationals that are not in the United States.
They've had a couple.
Keep rolling. I mean, so we're so large that we have. We have Gen Con, which is like continental, and then we have nationals, right? And then that's it for us.
Mm-hmm.
But in Europe, if you're willing to travel a little bit, I mean, you can hit several different nationals.
It's a little easier.
Kind of like we can hit several different regionals here if we're willing to put in a little effort to travel.
I feel like I did see on your Destiny site when they were talking about this that they had several different countries represented, even the U.S. at that regional, if I remember reading that correctly. So that's cool. I'm assuming somebody from the U.S. might have been over there visiting, but if you went all the way from the U.S. over there, kudos to you.
That's impressive.
So it seemed like it was a good show, like you said, from a large, pulled from a decent area.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I believe Your Destiny did record a lot of that. I don't know that they got it streamed, so you may be able to catch that on replay at some point in the near future if you wanted to see that decker.
For sure.
I did see that. I think that was Sunday. My days have all blurred together.
Well, I mean, what are days anyways, really, when it comes down to it?
There's a little part of me that wishes it was Thursday, but it's not.
It is not Thursday. In addition to that, so Fantasy Flight's actually been rather...
I'm shutting up.
Well, no, I'm not going where you think. I think you think I'm going.
No, I know you're not. I know you're not.
You wanted to fill in the blanks.
No. I see what you mean though. Like with these, like they're going down a new path with these articles.
All their PR. Things. Like I'm not Destiny aside.
Oh, maybe not all of it, but yeah. But most of it, some of it, they got a new take on some things. I haven't paid attention to a lot of their other game stuff, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
But I think it's about time we got a cool article. I mean, they've been doing these for what, a couple of sets now?
Right.
Didn't we get some in the last set?
Yeah. I mean, to see Jeremy jump in, right? That's kind of nice.
I thought that was cool. Yeah. He's so fun to talk to about the game, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And the one that you probably see out in the wild most often that you recognize to talk to.
Yeah, to see him jump in for a couple, to lend his thoughts whether he was actually the one who mentioned it, who said these things or not. they could just put words in his mouth. It sounded like they were very interviewy, right? Jeremy doesn't strike me as the guy who's going to sit down to write an article, but it sounded like somebody went to his office and said,
I don't know what
let's
his coverage used to be of like Netrunner, because he came from Netrunner.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was a player and winner of Netrunner and before he got into Destiny.
Right.
So maybe. I don't know.
Who knows?
I've never talked to him about that. That would be an interesting question. Maybe next time we have a chance to chat with him.
Yeah. So I want to dive into these articles next week. I think there's, especially the Ready for Action designer article, I think there's a lot to talk about that's really interesting. So we're going to save a lot of that till next week, and maybe we'll get even something else from them to kind of glean and go through those little nuggets. Because I think he tilted his hand, I think intentionally, right, to try to give us some more excitement about things that could be coming out soon. That he wants to do, and he's going to push to get done. But
he's always been open with his vision of the game, I think, and so I like this. Because I think we saw him before. Like, hey, I want to go back to the back and forth that this happened, and hey, I want to slow the game down. I mean, so I think he's always been pretty open with what his vision's been for Destiny, and that's a very nice perspective to get. So it's nice to have something like this.
Yeah, for sure.
I dig. Jeremy's cool.
And last but not least, of course, the spoiler game is over. As
womp womp.
Right. I'm sure everyone out there has read various opinions and editorials on the spoiler situation for the content creators out there. But the point was made mute when a store was able to, whether officially or unofficially, open up a case of Destiny and start putting those pictures out there. So now pretty much most of the stores have pictures of all the cards. SW Destiny DB already has, at last check, 152 out of 160 cards loaded in terms of card text. Bytown Traders, one of the stores on our price watch, already has a bunch of pictures of them listed. And Kerwin's Games also has them listed on their site for pre-order. So, spoiler gate, as some are referring to it, right? It always seems to happen somehow, whether it's someone gets spoilers from Poland, or someone gets a hold of product early. And I mean,
it never fails. I mean, I feel like it's been, I can't remember we talked about this on the show or just amongst ourselves within the Chance Cube that I was like, just wait, every time something happens.
Right. And Atomic X, thank you for subscribing. Much appreciated. Yeah. I don't know.
And I don't know why, and I don't know how, and I don't, whatever. It is what it is. It's interesting. And maybe that's I don't know. This game is different. I don't know that I see it as often with other CCGs, but I don't follow them so closely. I have some friends that are pretty deep into Magic. But they don't get spoiler stuff like we do. Like we've exchanged, we've had conversations about that. So it's different for them than it is for us. But it's a apple oranges comparison.
They keep it close.
They keep it pretty well, yeah. And honestly, it comes out so frequent that it's when would they have time to even kind of flaunt that a little bit?
Sure. But... Yeah. Well, and since we're not, I guess this is what gets us excited about the game, right? Is the spoilers coming out, and thinking about things about where they come. But yeah. And now we want to build decks, but for me, it's hard for me to build decks without I need cards. I need
the cards in my hand. Yeah.
I need.
There's something about
this is my vehicle pile. This is my Darth Vader pile. I can't. I can't go through SW Destiny and just oh yeah, these are the cards I want to use in my deck. They're great, man.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a more... that's like that for a lot of games. I'm a little more old-fashioned about it. I want the physical card in hand because I just can't visualize it the same way I can. Well, I always joke at work that I'm more pen and paper for some stuff, although I've tried to rise above that. But sometimes I just need the thing to make my brain work correctly. I just need the thing in my hand. Nope, take that back. I just need the card in hand to... make my brain think that way.
Well, I mean,
but I think I don't want to see everything spoiled. I mean, which is
We can't
crazy. I
process
understand
it.
that from me.
Have you
I know
read
that's
all
crazy coming
160
from
cards?
No, that's honest to God. I saw that stuff start coming up on the internet when they were throwing them out that night, and I went, I'm not even trying to read all that right now, and I still haven't
Right,
because
Shame
shocked
on
as it may
you.
be,
Shame.
shocked as it may be, that I spoil myself on every other movie and book and everything else. I'm like, I want a little something. Otherwise, where's the? I don't know. It's not as much fun to crack the packs at first if I already. I don't know.
Right?
There's just
No,
the
it's
element of
true, right?
surprise.
And let's be honest, right? So if the game is really healthy, which I think it's fairly healthy considering its placement in the grand scheme of CCG world, it's going to have to find its long-term footing, right? Because we're
Some
at a point.
consistency.
We're at a point now where
on different levels. Yeah.
anybody who is a CCG floater has moved on to Transformers or
Keyforge that comes out
Keyforge.
this week.
Which I have to say, I'll give FFG credit, and then I'll discredit them. I'm impressed that they're doing a daily live stream at Keyforge. However, I tuned in yesterday, and they didn't have the rule book in front of them, so they didn't.
Oh, well played.
They didn't have the Mulligan rules settled. And I don't know the game. I haven't played it. I don't have.
I don't either.
Time to invest in another game. But I was amused. I was like, thanks for the effort.
And maybe that's, and I'm not in marketing,
Go
so
watch Team Covenant play.
Right. I agree. It's the shiny new thing. And FFG treats it like that too. And maybe they need to get it off the ground. I don't know. But don't forget about the poor little redheaded Star Wars Destiny stepchild.
Right. Which it's still, I mean, compared to the other stuff, a fairly successful game, right? It'll probably still have, next to X-Wing, probably one of the biggest attendance at Worlds. If they can keep up the excitement and drive behind it.
And for it to sustain long-term popularity, it's got to get more consistent. And the chat even mentions even just overall communication.
Yeah.
To keep that interest up, because it's the next shiny new thing. They don't even talk about Destiny. And so, that thing we should... I mean, that in-flight report, they've had 2, and they haven't even talked about Destiny in it.
Hey, now we're going on a tangent.
don't know.
This is why when you and I do a show together, we never get to the discussion, which is fine.
Oh, you're right. Well, whatever. You guys are on welcome to the On the Fly show, kids.
But most podcasts are. We have a script and we hardly ever follow it.
Script schmip.
Okay, for example, right? Magic the Gathering, Hearthstone, right? Those are the 2 games I'm more familiar with than anything else right now, because I'm dabbling in Hearthstone and I'm following Magic the Gathering just so I see how they are so successful. Granted, they've been around for 25 years.
So good at what they do. Okay.
I can go to their sites and I find out everything I want to know, but FFG doesn't dedicate a single site to their game. So here we are, I get an alert anytime FFG posts something, but 99% of the time it's not
That's why I turned it off.
Destiny related.
But
so
that's why I turned it off.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and I think I don't remember where I saw this posted, but maybe it was somebody new. I don't recall, but I think it was in one of the Destiny Facebook groups. Maybe it was in some of the conversations about Spoilergate. I don't recall. But it's interesting that all of the big groups for it are run by community members, whether they're content creators or somebody who's adminning the Facebook sites. There is not an official FFG Destiny site or group.
Not in the United States.
Oh.
But I will say that there are some, I can't remember which countries, but I know a lot of it was either, I think FFG or Asmodee France runs their Destiny Facebook group.
Well, good for them.
So maybe that's why Europe's so much more successful.
Maybe because it's closer in proximity, but Europe does seem to have I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. And that's their business model, and that works for them. And I'm not a game business person, but I work in business. I understand some parts of it, but whatever. To each their own.
To each their own.
But I agree with what I think a lot of the community feels the same way.
Sure.
Yep. It just doesn't. I don't know. it could be more than what it is if it would get the correct support. We'll leave it at that.
I just realized, I know this isn't, more people will listen to the show than will actually watch it on video, but there's a reflection of you in my glasses.
Whoa, how freaky deaky.
That's crazy. Okay.
You're all welcome. Dueling Kims. That should be a show.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna save we'll save the Jeremy articles for next week as our discussion topic, unless something really astounding with Across the Galaxy comes up. But now that we've seen everything, I'm not holding my breath. So let's why don't we talk about some Across the Galaxy? You want to?
Well, sure. I haven't read all the cards.
You know what? I'll help you along.
Foreshadowing.
I will help you along with this, Kim.
Mike, I just can't seem to get the cards I need in the booster packs I've bought. I'm still missing a Mother Talzin, a Darth Maul, and I need some more battle droids. That 5-wide droid deck isn't going to build itself, and I have all these extra Yodas.
Seriously, Kim, I told you, check out Armada Games. You can buy and sell Destiny cards on their website, shoparmada.com. It's just a few simple clicks and bam, you are done. I used it just the other day, and now I got two Maul Sabers heading my way.
Hey, what are you guys talking about? We're in the middle of a break here.
Jason, you know how you've got all those extra cards from all those booster boxes you open? Mike says you can sell them online super easy.
No way, seriously? How? I've got to make room before this next set comes out.
Jason, whether you're new to the game or a seasoned vet, Armada Games has just what you're looking for. You can buy and sell your Destiny singles all from the comfort of your living room. Pre-order the latest sets of boosters and find the droids you are looking for. You can also check out their selection of Destiny accessories. And you'll get free shipping on orders over $75. For an even better deal, be sure to use the coupon code TheChanceCube and receive 5% off your Destiny purchase. Visit their website at shoparmada.com. Armada Games. Get in here and game.
But you know what I always say. Speak softly and drive a big tank.
So, Across the Galaxy has been almost entirely, if not entirely, spoiled. All the cards are out for anyone to see on various places. Right now, I've actually got Bytown Traders pulled up, and they've got a listing, and the guy who runs the shop actually has his kind of opinions on each of the cards, which is pretty
interesting.
Impressive. Yeah,
that's cool.
So, that's more power to him, right, for putting a thought on every single card from the set. That's
kudos to all of you guys that can find this secret extra time that I can't seem to find lately.
Either don't have jobs or they don't sleep, one or the other.
I think it's the lack of sleep. I need the sleep, trust me.
Sleep's important. But
Bear.
You can definitely tell in Across the Galaxy there are some very significant themes that they're bringing into the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the base sets, there's not really a theme. There's not really what am I trying to say? There's not really a coherent thread between a subsection of cards. Sometimes there's a little thing, right? We got the Night Sister stuff with Mother Talzin and the odd number cards this time around. But I think Across the Galaxy may be the first set that's so strikingly leaning significantly in a couple different directions. First of which I think we talked about plenty of times, but we'll mention it now, that there's even more stuff for vehicles. Vehicles and modified upgrades. I know, right? Just tons of stuff. There's you get dorsal turrets, and
I didn't know where. There's a fish.
There's all these astromechs that are coming in play that don't have dice,
lots
but
of those
do things when you attach them to vehicles. And there's even a plot which I'm kind of intrigued by. Armored Reinforcement is a red neutral plot that costs 3 points, so a little pricey. Action: set this plot aside to search your deck or discard pile for a vehicle support and play it, decreasing its cost by 1. If you searched your deck, shuffle it. So you can take a vehicle out of your discard pile. You can save it for later in the game. You can start turn 1 with a 3-cost support and pay your 2 resources for it. But then you're down to a 27-point character team. So for vehicles, that's pushing it. But I'm intrigued, right? That's a thought.
Yeah.
To try to get
those 3 ones I think are going to be hard to. They'll take a little bit of time to catch on. I feel like The 3-cost plots are going to take some time to catch on. And there's some of those plots too. I think we talked about in previous shows that we were curious about these negative plots and if they were going to cause harm to you. And I think we are seeing that some of them, you get that -1, but it's not the best result for you.
Yeah.
And I can see the card, but I can't think of how it reads. So at least there's some, but you're right with the vehicles.
Right.
There seems so much more you have to take into consideration with this when you're I feel like there's deck building here, and then this is deck building, and it seems there's a new level to it. There's a new you have to take some of those thematics, those synchronized cards more into consideration.
That's actually a good point, because deck building's not simple. I don't want to call it simple, but
I don't find it simple.
decks can tend to build themselves eventually, right? You land on a character pair you like, and it kind of fits in place.
Mm-hmm.
But with only
whether
30
for
cards,
you or for the meta, like
right. But there's only 30 cards, and now you're layering this whole idea of vehicles and vehicle upgrades, and there's a lot of them, and events, right? You can move mods from one vehicle to another now. You can there's new dice removal based on the number of mods you have on your vehicles. But in the end, your characters are still the ones you have to keep alive.
Yeah, and I think you really have to think about, what do I want this deck to do?
Yeah,
at this point, I can't just, I like this character pairing, and here's some weapons that beef them up a little bit. I feel like you really have to think about, what do I want this deck to do?
Yeah.
More so, I think you kind of had that before, but I think more so, like, am I going for this vehicle? Am I going for all those extra? Because you're not going to have room in a 30-card deck to do it all.
No, of course not. You had mentioned the negative point plot cards, and actually, in my naivete, I thought that the -1 neutral one, that was the only one we were going to see.
And there's at least
there's three. There's 3 in total.
3.
So, so we had we talked about it before, the -1 point plot card that you must have all neutral characters.
That's right.
But your neutral characters gain each a 1 point of health. So,
and that one's like, okay, that's not so bad.
That's not so bad, right? And with things like Kira, who can add in yellow villain or hero events, like options open up. It's not so atrocious, and you could do other neutral characters too. It doesn't have to be yellow. It just Kira seems to be the most obvious choice. The blue plot, bitter rivalry, which is, I think this is the plot we thought was going to happen. It's -1 after setup. Choose an opponent. That opponent deals 2 unblockable damage to one of your characters and draws a card. So it gives your opponent an advantage for you having 1 additional character on your team. But
Right.
Bitter Rivalry is now going to allow Sabine Ezra to come back, Thrawn Unkar, Pomaz, like all those decks that were kind of balanced out can now come back. But
we all hated.
You have to take that 2 unblockable damage right off the bat. Is that
At least
enough?
they can't come back for long. Ha.
Is that enough to deter you from building those? I don't know.
I don't. Maybe. I don't know. It depends on how I think that's going to be a meta call.
Right? I think Thrawn Car is someone's gonna. Well, you can't use Thrawn Car because you gotta have a blue character. That's actually a good point.
Aha!
So you gotta have at least one blue character in your team. So, and the other plot was Solidarity, right? It's a neutral plot. You have to have you have to have a monocolored deck, and you can only use 1 of each card in your deck, so you can't have any duplicates.
I think that one's interesting. I think that's fun from a. Yeah, I don't know that that's I'm gonna take this to tournament deck, but I think that's I'm gonna take to my local play deck for sure.
Well, I also think it's good now when we have 6 sets. Once base
it's
set,
not so.
Once the next set comes out, you're down to 4 sets of cards. So
that's true.
You don't have the
slim pickings
substitutions.
But then that is how. It's got to be monocolor, right? So maybe that is how you get more vehicles and their various odds and ends upgrades in there, because you're one of.
That's interesting. So,
but then you're digging for it. But then if you have so many of them, then you're like, oh, I can put this one. Like, it depends on how that plays out. Like, because there's so many benefits to pairing it with that other specific card. That's there's so much linking happening. I don't know.
And then we have a gray villain plot, which I think is interesting. It's 1 point, so that's easily playable. Include only if you have a character that has 20 or more points on your team. So Vader,
Darth Vader.
After one or more of your character dice are removed by an opponent, you may deal 1 damage to a character.
Every time?
After one or more, yeah. So every time a character die is removed,
Ooh.
you deal a damage. Like that's mean.
Are you flipping kidding me?
Yeah, that's I mean,
that's Palpatine's die thrown on. That's basically the ability of Palpatine thrown onto that freaking card.
I play Retribution with an Elite Palpatine.
Well,
like OG
backwards
Palp.
because I guess backwards, but
I mean, the die is still removed,
nuts.
but you play it on Vader, right? The die is removed.
Yeah, but then you throw that. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, well, that's not gonna. Oh boy, I won't play against that.
Right? Oh, I don't know. Other themes in the deck. I mean, Vader's got a significant suite of cards. We talked about him when that spoiler article came out. The witches have a new set of cards as well.
They do. They're expanding their reach.
A lot more of the odd numbered things coming into play. There's also, for the first time, we are the game's designing around whether or not you're playing on your battlefield. So, for example, a villain event called Reach the Stars is one resource to play. It's an ambush. Reroll up to 2 of your dice. Then, if you are fighting on your battlefield, reroll up to 2 of your dice. So you get an additional benefit for your battlefield being chosen in the beginning of the game, which we haven't seen that before. Like, we've gone so long with battlefield control being, or the battlefield that is being chosen being, 9 times out of 10 not necessary to your win condition. And here we are. It
didn't matter for so long, I feel like.
And I don't know. There's just some really interesting, some newer things. I think this really shows the ingenuity of Jeremy all over this.
I think they've done a good job with taking the thematic portion of this game to a new depth.
Oh, no, I totally agree.
And that's cool. I mean, that's fun because a lot of us play this game because we like Star Wars. Not everybody, but a lot of us play this game because we like Star Wars. So there's an appreciation for that. I would be really curious to somebody who's not like an avid Star Wars fan, what they think of that thematic, those that kind of stuff. I'm curious how somebody else's take would be on that. I just don't know anybody that plays it that isn't also a fan of Star Wars. But I know there's a few of them. I know there's some out there. We've talked with them before.
There's Joe, right, from the Hyperloops. I'm not sure he knows what Star Wars is.
I'm trying to. When I was at Nova,
calling him out.
Poor Joe. There was somebody at Nova who wasn't that big into Star Wars, and actually, I think that somebody handed him a deck like 4 days before, and he went very deep into the first year. So, yeah, I'm curious how their brains look at that deck building differently than those of us who can't help but sometimes look at it thematically.
Right. Well, I mean, would you, this is going totally nowhere in your topic, but would you say that because we are seeped into the realm of Star Wars thematics, that it makes deck building more challenging?
It's hard not to. It is for me. And maybe that's, my brain isn't wired like some of the really good competitive players. I already know that. But I think I play cards because I like them, or I find them fun, or I find them thematic, not because they're useful sometimes. I would say for me it makes it more complicated because, well, I have Han Solo and I have to put the Millennium. I mean, it's stuff like that. Like, how could I not do this? How could you build a deck without that? Well, because they stink together, Ken. You probably shouldn't match them up, but I do anyway. Right.
Oh, sure. I'm also,
maybe.
I have to say, for the first time, and this is actually kind of smart, there's a couple of dice cards that have sides that are 0. 0 range, 0 melee, 0 indirect. So Nexus of Power is one of them. It's a neutral support location, 1 resource. After you activate support, you may turn its die at any side. So really, like, you activate it, you put the die on whatever side you want it to be on, and it allows you to resolve modifiers because 0 plus 2 is still 2. I think it's a smart play. It's kind of, you know what, Nexus of Power is your next set's version of Awakening.
That's what I was just thinking. I was like, ah, a little homage to my card that I'm the only person who liked.
I mean, it's kind of in a way the same thing, and then you can, of course, you can chain modifiers with that one. The other one is lightsaber training or training lightsaber, which is an upgrade that has 3 0 melee sides and 2 1 melee sides.
It means they upgraded you from the stick. That's all that one is.
Pretty much is a stick. Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting. It also feels like there's some of this stuff setting up some things even for a set beyond now. So,
I'm sure. I mean, we've seen that so many times. That
we'll
this card seems completely pointless in this set, and then you go, oh, like 2 sets later.
Going back on the vehicle thing, sorry, I'm just like seeing cards that I think are interesting. 1 resource, aerial advantage for the heroes. Play only if you control the battlefield. Spot a red character to turn a die to any side. You may spot a vehicle to remove a die. You may spot a mod to turn a die to any side or remove a die.
Good lord.
That's a lot of words. But
it's a lot of words on a card.
It's almost like they say, okay, we're going to give you these mods. Now we're going to make you have to play them to do cool things. They don't want them to go. They don't want them to go nowhere. I can see that. I don't know. I'm intrigued. I really like where I like where the set's going. I think, for all their faults on the PR side, or challenges that we may have, their design side, right? Jeremy is just knocking it out of the park. I think. With the game.
And I don't think any of us have had too many issues on that side of things. You know what I mean? Like,
right. That's why we're still here.
Right. Whether it was Lucas or whether it was Jeremy, there seems to have always been a lot of dedication from them on developing a game that they really enjoy too.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So really, I think there's a lot of ways, and I think if you really love deck building and you really love home brews and creating your own things, this set's like full of fun things you can do. I think we can start taking a look at force abilities again. There's a couple of force ability upgrades that have some benefits based on the number of abilities you have on the table, like in terms of either removing dice or maybe removing an upgrade or support based on the number of force abilities you have, or maybe it was a weapon.
Oh yeah. I do remember that.
It's adding new creativity with team building based on negative plot cards that's are not as disadvantageous as I would have expected them to be. So we'll see what comes out of those, and to see whether like our negative point plot is going to be the new staple for a starting lineup.
I'm curious. I'm very curious to see those out in the wild. Very curious for that.
Hey, Ken says you are the reason he's still in Star Wars Destiny.
Thanks, buddy. You're crazy, but thanks.
And Kim's still here because of me, so that's so true.
That's actually very true.
And then and vehicles, right? I think we saw vehicles rise at the in the middle, towards the end of the meta, especially here in the United States. This last go round, we have not seen the end of vehicles, and I think Hero Vehicles is going to come back with a vengeance in this set. Once someone finds the secret sauce of character pairings to make that really work well and sustainable.
I think so too. And the chat mentions this Force Lift because it bounces supports 3 costs or less. And I finally did start play a bit of a vehicle deck, and I went, oh, this is kind of fun. But I think that's, even being somebody that plays it, I think it's, yes, we needed a card that kind of does limit some of that, because it was getting to be somewhat out of, you're like, haha, and you just, like, it seems like, yeah, you should be able to bounce one of those back.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's on the receiving end of it as well. I think that's totally fair.
Yeah, well, I mean, between Mauler, Mythal, being able to, destroy vehicles.
Just sounds like you have candy in your mouth.
Mauler, Mythal.
Mauler.
Sorry, I need to eat something.
Eat my hard candy.
Like a word. And these upgrades that can bounce supports or back into decks. That's what it's going to take to fight these things, right? So I mean, I think if you're not playing a vehicle deck, you're going to have to tech around it, and either you have to be faster and more nimble, or you have to have a way to even the playing field, right? Take some lessons from other card games that you've seen, and how do you clear a board state, or how do you get the advantage to control the board before your opponent does and get out more damage. And this set seems to have a little bit more on the control side of cards too, right? More cards that allow you to move your dice to whatever you want. Oh, how can we go through this whole thing and not talk about the counterspell? Did you see the counterspell?
No.
There is. Gosh, someone in the chat tell me the name of the card. There is now a There is now a counterspell in this game.
I'll fill the void while they think. When you talk about vehicles, the thing I'm not sure if it's gonna take off or not are those swarms, because there's only room for 30 cards in your deck, right? And you have to, if I do that swarm, it has to be in my deck, right? Stifle, it appears, could be that card, Jason.
Stifle is.
Thank you, Thomas. I'm not sure that I like the idea of them. I don't know if they're gonna become a thing or not.
Like the idea of what? I'm sorry.
The swarms.
Oh, the X-Wing swarms and the TIE Fighter swarms. So Stifle, for those who have not been into the spoiler game of things, one resource support villain. So one resource, you play the support on the table, right? It kind of has the same feeling as suppressive fire that you put on the table and you just remove it to remove a die off the table. That hero red support. So this is a blue villain support. Before the effects of an opponent's event would be resolved, discard the support from play to cancel those effects instead. And it is sitting on there on the table for your opponent to stare at and be afraid of playing anything. And you gotta then it becomes a game of poker, right? So you got your event that you don't mind getting stifled, and then you got this other event that you really want to play, but which one do you play first? And will they proc stifle on this event, or are they going to wait for that? Stifle is going to be the card that you're going to play and put in your deck to make sure they don't hyperspace jump you, or never tell me the odds you, or any of those one hit wonder.
Rise again.
Run. Oh my gosh, Stifle or Rise again? That's angry. Oh,
that's
I'm sorry.
Table throwing right there.
You just, and the resources are gone, right? Once you stifle a card.
Oh, he said it's not a May though, so it hits the next event. And then there's that awkward silence.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, that is the discussion, right? Before the effects of an opponent's event would be resolved. Before the effects of an opponent's event would be resolved. This card lacks Lord May as it is you play opponent. Interesting. Nope, it's fair. You put it out there to prevent you from the next event, which can buy you a turn, I guess. Yeah, now I see what everybody's saying. Before the effects of an opponent's event would be resolved. So it doesn't, there's no May. Okay, fair enough. I can see that getting a lot of misplay then, especially at the casual level.
Oh, sure. So many things that are I don't want to play against that.
Yeah. I'm sure many things.
Some of them are mean. We play board game. We don't play that aggressively towards each other. I'm trying to think. Yeah, whatever that is.
Okay.
Anyways,
we have 2 more days for Across the Galaxy in our hands. I know for those of you who play on that online thing that we don't talk about much on this show, are probably already testing decks. I know once SW Destiny DB will catch up and be able to publish those decks and link up to that thing that we don't talk about a lot. So we're going to see a lot of these decks kind of start creeping in, especially groups like the Hyperloops, Your Destiny, the Destiny Council, and Aerobrook Games. All are now posting
even Jedi Trials too.
Very competitive articles about decks and deck building. So we'll be seeing a lot of these decks come out, and they'll shape the early meta. Except for those of you out there who don't read them and want to build things on your own, and we'll find something that will beat them all. We have faith in you people. You people. But speaking of which,
I love all those.
Aside from our opinions, we got some opinions of some other people about this.
Woo-hoo.
So let's get to it.
There can be no mistakes this time.
So Across the Galaxy is upon us. What are you looking forward to most out of this new set? Was the question over the week over the Facebook page. If you're not hanging out and checking us out on Facebook and giving us your answers, then how could we possibly read them as part of the podcast?
We can't.
So
that's impossible.
Go do that.
That's impossible.
Because it's fun. It's fun. It's fun times. Dang it. Life's complicated, so go have fun. So a lot of you had, well, I think this went out right before, I'm chuckling at Just Hughes' response, because he must have answered right before Spoilergate happened, because he wanted to know, what are you looking forward to the most out of this set? And he was like, at the moment, spoilers, and then asked, where are they? So that must have been prior to, there they are!
Ta-da!
Joshua Monk had mentioned smashing 3-wide decks with Vader. Oh, God, it's gonna hurt. Vader's gonna hurt. I can't say Maul or Myth. I can't do it. I can't go Maul or Myth. I can't say his name. I gotta name him. But Sean Shepard's happy about him. And the train's here. What do you got? Jason, I'll let you read a few so nobody has to listen to the train.
Oh, well, Marshall and Tim were both kind of echoing the same sentiment. They like they would love to see FFG, they like seeing FFG start challenging their design limits. So breaking deck building rules, which can be dangerous, but is actually opening up new possibilities now. It's a good time to do it with a ton of options available to the players, but many of the broken cards of the past leaving before we have to suffer too much. Giving more tools to weaker deck types, and I think they're really starting to figure out how to create big characters and balance them. So
no, we're just gonna hate them.
And Tim is excited, in addition to all that, most looking forward to drafting the new set, as it looks like to be a much stronger drafting set than Way of the Force, which I'll agree. I think Legacies was a great draft set, and this seems like a good draft set. Way of the Force was not really great. There's been a lot of, I don't know, this is, again, off topic, but it's what you and I tend to do. I've seen a lot of people mention Rivals too, like we're going to get a new draft set. I'm not sure where that idea is coming from.
Yeah, it seems early for it. Because Rivals is, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate another one.
But I mean, certainly they'd have to give you one when Legacy's block rotates out, but we're talking like a year and a half from now.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. I will say, and I agree with that. I think drafting's probably, I would say, my favorite format.
Sure.
Because it levels. I mean, you still have to think, and I don't always do the best thinking in draft, but I feel like it levels the playing field a lot more.
Well, just draft the -1 neutral plot card, and then you can play anything.
And then draft Vader, and then I'm fine.
Oh, well, but then you can't play that plot card. But hey, whatever. You do you.
What ifs? Well, if I had to pick one or the other, I think I'll draft Vader.
I know
send Vader off to the
right. No, totally agree. Gosh, I'm excited. I think I can't wait to get my hands on some of these cards. I'm looking forward to seeing the creativity in deck building. I think we'll see.
That's always fun.
We saw some slow evolutions of previous styles with this last set. I think we're going to see a dramatic change with this one. I think we're going to see a whole lot of new things come out as people try to figure out what works best, and then we'll see some of the old favorites come back. It's the same cycle we always get, right? The new things are really cool until they break. Then the old things come back because they're well known, and then the old new things get better. And now I'm rambling. So
make new friends, that kind of stuff.
And so there we go.
We shall see.
We made it through an hour.
Woohoo!
So we should probably stop.
That's a fun listening car ride, right? Half hour to work, half hour back.
Oh, I mean, I guess if that's what you want to do with your time.
My work drive is longer than that, so.
Yeah. So it's, I haven't been to work in a month and a half, so I don't know. But babies are work.
That's true. You're not exactly just chillaxing at home.
No, I'll have to tell you a story when we're done here. I got a good one. Anyways, everyone else, thank you. Thanks for joining
Have a
us.
great week.
For those who are here live, thanks for hanging out live and talking in the chat. Always a fun time. For those who are listening via podcast,
thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. If you have it in your heart and the time to give us a review on iTunes, we'd really appreciate it. And then for those who are watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Like the video. I mean, all the things, right? And if you're watching in all 3 formats at once and getting us in surround sound / video,
all the screens.
Please let me know where you are and I'll send you a t-shirt. Because you deserve one for watching
that's
us.
some dedication.
That's dedication. So next week, this time, we'll be back with episode 110. We will talk about Jeremy's articles.
Episode 10, I'm like, I just go back in time?
Anything else new that happens in the time frame.
Because heaven only knows.
And if you would all just head over to our Facebook page and answer the following question. What has lead designer Jeremy Zwern said recently in his articles that has resonated with you, or what more would you like to hear from him?
Nice.
So everyone, have a great week.
Thanks for tuning in, kids.
This has been The Chance Cube, a Star Wars Destiny podcast, a non-profit organization dedicated to building community through gaming. Visit our website for all things Star Wars Destiny, including our price watch, meta tracker, and latest articles from the Chance Cube family. Find our latest videos on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and visit us at patreon.com/thechancecube. Your patronage allows us to grow this program and help us give back to the gaming community by sponsoring events, giveaways, and supporting our own community building initiatives. This is Mike Hill, the voice of the Chance Cube. Thanks for listening. The Chance Cube is not affiliated with Fantasy Flight Games, Lucasfilms, or the Walt Disney Company.